Now, linking with an absolute URL is great for other people's web pages, but it's difficult for our own. For one thing, when we build our websites, we typically have the pages on our hard drive, and they aren't out on the web at all, so they don't even have a web address yet. We don't want to have to publish these pages just to look at them, but we still want to be able to try links, and for that, we're going to be using relative links. A relative link allows you to eliminate the first part of a typical web address. But to understand them, we need to know what a file path is and how it works. When you use a relative link, you start out your path at wherever your document is located. So for us, that would be our tryout links HTML file. Now, basically what you can do is you can give directions from this location to wherever the assets are going to be. Now, you can see relative links won't work very well if you're working on someone else's website, but if I wanted to add the links down here to page 1, 2, and 3, I would be linking to these HTML files, which are right in the same folder that I'm working in right now. So actually, the links will be very easy. All I need is the name of the file. Let's try it out. I'll go back to my HTML document, and first of all, let me add an anchor tag around the text page 1. It's interesting to note that we can have an anchor tag and a link created inside of a list, inside of a paragraph, even inside of a header tag if you wanted to. I have the same structure. We'll add an href attribute and an equal sign. And then, of course, my address is going to be in quotes. This time, I'm just going to use a relative address. I'm going to type in the name of the page, page1.html. And, of course, I'll need to end my start tag and add an end tag for the anchor. Now let's go ahead and set up the other two. I'm going to use a little copy and paste here. I'll just copy my anchor start tag for the other two and change the addresses. We need to add end tags for each one of those. So I'll copy the first one and paste it into the next two. And then we just need to save our page so we can try it out. I'll refresh the page, and you can see that we've got 3 links now inside of our list. And when I click on page 1, it goes out to our very simple page 1. And I can do a back and go to page 2, and of course page 3 as well. Well, now so far we've seen that relative links are pretty easy as long as all of our files are in the same folder. But what happens when one of our files is in a different folder? Well, I'm going to grab page 1 here, and I'm just going to move it into the files folder. Now the first thing that we'll notice is the link is broken when we go out to our web page. If I try to click on page 1, I'll get a file not found page. And that's because the file is no longer in the location that the link is looking for it. So let's go back and modify our document. I'll bring up our folder down here below so we can see where it's going to go. Right now, page 1 is inside the files folder. If we start from our document, tryout links, we first have to go into the files folder and then we'll find page 1. And the way to write that path is we start off with the name of the folder we're looking for, files, and we use a slash in between any folders. Now, if there were more folders, we would just use more slashes in the name of each folder in line until we got to the document we're looking for. With this change in our address, let's just save our page. I'll go back out to the browser, go back to our page and refresh it so we get the new document. And now I'll go out to page 1 again. Now, you might have noticed that the page 1 link is now blue because we're actually looking for a new link this time. When I go out, I'm back at page 1. So really, for a relative addressed link to work, we just need to have the correct path information in there to find the file. Now let's try one more thing. What if our page itself is in a different location? I'm going to move the tryout links into the files folder as well. Now you may want to go ahead and close that file and open it back up in your text application just to make sure that you've got the new location set up. Now with our file in this location, first of all, the absolute link that we created earlier will still work without problem because we have an address that explicitly denotes where that file is going to be. But our relative links have all been messed up. For instance, page 1 is now in the same folder as our document. So it'll have an href address that's just the name of the document, whereas our other 2 pages are actually up a folder level instead of down a folder level. Well, that's easy as well. You can denote that the program needs to look up a folder level by using dot dot slash. If you needed to look up 2 folder levels, you would just use dot dot slash twice in a row. And that's basically all we need to know about paths. So I'm going to go down and set that up for my second one, dot dot slash page 3. Again, we'll save our changes. And since our page is in a new location, I'll just go back down to the file folder and I'll double click our saved page so we can try it out. Now we can still see the links that we were looking at before, and hopefully when I click page 1, it will go and find the page 1 file. And page 2 and 3, even though they're up a folder, are still clickable links because we used that dot dot slash to move the path up a folder.